Hey guys, I'm out here just outside of Salt Lake City, where Audi flew me out here to review and test drive that. That is the brand new Audi Q7. And in this video, we're gonna do a walk around. We're gonna show you what's new. I'm gonna tell you all about pricing. And of course, we're gonna take it for a ride and see how it drives. So let's start with styling. Now, if you notice, there is a new and I think more aggressive grille, and of course more modern headlights. I mean, every generation, and especially this refresh, has new headlights. I think this grille is, well, kind of in line with the current state of the world. In this car, of course, everything is blacked out except for these kind of sinister and three-dimensional looking Audi rings. Now, in general, the new Audi Q7 is a car that competes for your family hauling dollars. So it competes with cars like the BMW X5, the Genesis GV80, of course, the Porsche Cayenne, which it shares a chassis with, and the upcoming new Volvo XC90. And if you're wondering how much it tows, over 7,000 pounds. I do like, are those real? I think they are real. Those real, yep, they're real. Maybe they're not. I haven't, let me look. Yeah, those are real. Audi, for a while they went with kind of fake exhaust tips, and those are real ones. So is it outstanding? You know, it's what you'd expect from a family hauling Audi. And Audi has always done kind of these very buttoned up cars where they look and feel very well screwed together. There are various powertrains you can get for your Q7. There's a 4-cylinder, but of course, since I'm reviewing it, Audi has brought out this. That's a 6-cylinder turbo that puts out 335 horsepower compared to an 8-speed Tiptronic. And according to published reports, I'm talking about our friends over at Car and Driver, this car will do 0 to 60 in 5 seconds, which is very respectable. Now, if you look at it from this direction, kind of the way you would see it in the rearview mirror, I think it's quite handsome. It's very kind of brawny and muscular and purposeful. This way, it's kind of the car you would see picking up the kids at school. And speaking of picking up the kids at school, this is a 3-row. So let's start in the back, and I'll show you that. So first and foremost, let's see how much room there is for somebody who's 6'2", and I will sit behind myself. So let me zoom out. Good leg room, very good headroom, and I love the fact they've got not one, not two, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, quad zone climate control, which is always nice. And then here we have heated seats, which for some reason are on, so my butt is getting very warm, so let's turn those off. But you know, Audi's haptic controls have always been some of the best in the business, and that doesn't change. So if you like screens and you like getting feedback, Audi's probably one of the best companies for that. Now, this is an interesting combination. It's hard to tell in the sunlight, but this is brown with kind of a beige interior. Now, there is a 3rd row. I will show you that. But it's definitely for kids. I'm not even going to try to crawl in there, and I'm sure it'd be very entertaining to watch me, but yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. But you can lower the rear seats from buttons right there, and put this back. You can also lower them from the back of the car right here. So I'm going to put that down, I'm going to put this down, and then you just hit this button and hit that button. We got the little magic dance that happens, and it gives you quite a bit of space back here. So if you don't necessarily need the 3rd row, or if you only need it occasionally when picking up the soccer team at school, or perhaps when you've got some fellow coworkers that are short, that want to go to lunch with you, this is not a bad option. And of course, this car does come with an automatic tailgate, which is also nice. So before we take it for a ride, let me show you one of my favorite features. I'm a sucker for this. Well, it's been a year now. We bought a Range Rover, and my favorite feature was this. Oh, I love soft closed doors, and maybe it's my age, or maybe because it's such a nice way to close a door. You don't have to slam it. It just says luxury to me. And speaking of luxury, Audi has always had this very interesting approach to their interiors, and if you're an Audi fan, then this will look very familiar to you. Basically, you have 3 screens here, and let's go to home, and you'll get tablets that pop up here. Tablets that pop up there. Oh my gosh. Where are my tablets? Oh, there's my Sirius. Anyway, these are color coordinated tablets, so I think music is yellow. I think navigation, I forget what color they are. But you've got a haptic feedback, which is nice. And then over here, you've got your basically HVAC controls. And today it's, 91 degrees out there. So we have both heated and cooled seats. How nice is that? Let me move this car so I'm not shooting into the sun, so you can get a better look at the instrument cluster here. Let me just quickly turn it around. Yes, I know, I don't have my seatbelt on. I will not go careening into the lake, so don't worry. So if I park it over here, you should have a better look at what the instruments look like. I mean, Audi has done this for a while. Oh, be quiet. Okay, it's gonna make me put on my seatbelt. It's not happy. Yes, I will put on my seatbelt. That is an annoying ding. And I do wear my seatbelt all the time, but when doing a review, that can get annoying. But you know what? I appreciate you guys going through this review with me, warts and all. So now you can have a better look at what the screens look like. I love Audi's Google Maps. This is the way back to the hotel. And I really, feel that everything is kind of very fitted and, dare I say, bespoke when it comes to the interior of an Audi. Now, this car does have air suspension, which is sweet. And you can get to the air suspension by the different drive modes. So let me show you. It's got all-road, comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual. You go back there, so you can set those. And since we're going to be driving in the mountains, let's go to dynamic, and then of course you can raise and lower the suspension right there. And I forgot to show you, you can also lower it from the back. So if you've got something that's big and heavy, like a big suitcase, you can actually lower the car. I always think that that's a very thoughtful feature. We do have dual cup holders right there. Traditional, almost dare I say it, boat-like. Can you see the boat? There it is. Boat-like shifter. And then this is not my favorite thing. You've got regular USB-C hookups here, but this is your charger, wireless charger. And I've never understood why some manufacturers like to hide your phone when you're driving if you want to charge it, especially if you're sitting in that seat. You're not going to distract anybody, and your phone's going to be hidden, so you can't use it. I always find that to be kind of odd. Now, if you're wondering how much this guy costs, I've got the Monroney right here. So this one starts at 65, but I think if you get the smaller engine, you can start around 61. But then it gets expensive relatively quickly because, if you can see here, this is the Prestige package, which is a $12,100 option, and gives you things like the Bang & Olufsen premium sound system, the adaptive suspension, the dual pane acoustic glass, the 4-zone climate control, which we mentioned already, headlight washers, head-up display, and of course these pretty funky but cool HD matrix design LED headlamps with Audi laser light. Laser light. Our government does not allow a lot of the really cool stuff that this vehicle can do in Europe, but in Europe the laser light can actually shift the light pattern so oncoming cars aren't blinded, but allows you to get as much illumination of the road ahead of you as possible. And that's important if you're on the Autobahn doing, let's say, 100 and this is the top speed of 155, but this is 160 miles per hour, not kilometers. And then you're looking at a grand total of $88,790, which is in line with the X5, the Cayenne, which, like I said, built on the same chassis, but bearing the Porsche badge will cost you more money. Now, I do like the fact that there is a real volume knob. That's always nice. Easily findable start-stop button. Sometimes the manufacturers hide it back there, and as you can see, you can't even see it with me tapping at it because the steering wheel gets in the way. And then you have this very nice and soft steering wheel, and of course, leather everywhere. And I like this. I'm betting that's real wood. I bet you that's not faux wood. At $88,000, that's real, and you can see the pattern in the wood, which is a very nice touch. And I gotta say, I'm a sucker for beige. And Tom, it's not hearing aid beige, but I'll tell you a story real quick. This review is brought to you by Roman Stupidity. Once upon a time, we bought a Silverado ZR2, and I love that truck. And then one day, Tommy was in the office, and he's like, "Dad, love the truck, except," and this was something that I think Chevy called cement or sand, but Tommy called it hearing aid beige. And once I heard that, I could not unhear it. So I apologize if you can't unhear it, but these are, well, let's see what the official color is. Okay, it's sage beige interior. No, not sage. Sega beige interior. So that's, keep that in your mind, not the other thing I said. Of course, we have paddle shifters, and now it does these cool things where you could change the view. Of course, you can change and configure the screen in a lot of different ways. And you've got these relatively easy to use controls, which let you scroll through things like the fuel economy. As you can see, I'm getting 19.9, and then time and date. How exciting is that? Go the other way. Driver fatigue, don't really like that, but I like the fact that it gives you the option of being low or high as opposed to nagging at you. And then, yeah, air conditioning, seat ventilation, energy usage. That's kind of clever. And according to the EPA, we're looking at 20 mpg combined, 18 city, 23 highway, which is pretty darn good for a large vehicle that can haul, you and your family and potentially your dog, as long as he's a small dog or she's a small dog and can fit in the back. Even though I don't think I'd ever want to put a dog back there. I was driving the other day and I saw somebody with a dog in the back, and I felt sorry for the dog. I mean back, I mean the way back, right? The sun is like just bearing down on the pooch, and yeah, not a great thing. Of course, not a great thing to put him in the front seat unless you have an old pickup truck without airbags. All right, so how does this Audi drive? Well, first and foremost, I'm a real fan of this air suspension. It does a really good job of softening the ride. So right now we're in dynamic mode, but if you do put it in comfort, it really does make a great job of ironing down, I guess would be a way you could say it, the bumps and undulations of the road. Even now, I can feel the suspension working, and as I get older, the more comfy a car is, the more important it is to me. So, yes, I know I'm turning right. Thank you very much, navigation system. So the reason that Google is telling me to turn right is because Audi picked this really interesting road that kind of cuts through the hills and mountains around Salt Lake City and gives you a real idea of how dynamically this vehicle performs. And I have to say, for a 3-row, it's extremely tossable and extremely confidence-inspiring. The steering is not too soft, but not too firm, if you know what I'm talking about. Just the right amount of input to bring it around this corner. The brakes are very linear, and I'm going to use a cliche here, very confidence-inspiring. And it's a big, heavy car. I mean, this thing can tow over 7,000 pounds. I want to say with the bigger engine, I think it's 7,700 pounds. So if you are going to bring your boat to this wonderful lake right there, now you can get a better view of it. Let me just come next to it and zoom in. It is beautiful. Look at the color of that water. Then this is a car that will, bring your fishing boat or your ski boat. Look at that. That is incredible. all the way out here with no issues. It's not like a pickup truck. I mean, that, tows a lot more. But still, for this category of car, it does very well. We, of course, have all of the safety systems in place so that, if you're worried about a deer jumping in front of you, I suspect the autonomous or automatic braking would kick in and hopefully keep the deer and the car in one piece. And then, when you're on the highway, you can certainly engage all of the safety systems right there, and it will do what most modern cars do, which is sort of kind of steer for you. Hate level 2 autonomy. If you guys have been watching my adventure where I drove a BMW i8 from Anchorage, Alaska, all the way down to Boulder, Colorado, down the Alcan or Alaskan Highway. That was 3,500 miles in 4 days. I did discover something that I had completely forgotten about, and that is how much I love to drive and how much I hate autonomous driving. And it was such a pleasure to just get behind the wheel of a car and not have it nanny, not have it bounce me from side to side, not have it nag me and tell me that, I need to grab the wheel, and just sit back and take joy in the beautiful art of driving a car on twisty, curvy roads with nobody around and only, well, I don't know in Canada if this is true, but certainly in the US, only you and God looking down at your speedometer. I do not recommend driving above the speed limit, but these are beautiful turns, and this car just handles them so well. It's very composed, it's flat, and I could easily exceed the speed limit coming around this turn and feel like I'm not driving a family hauler, but somewhere deep inside of this chassis is a Porsche. And you know why? Because there is! But the Porsche is going to cost you a lot more, which is also a reason, I'm just enjoying the driving, sorry, which is also a reason to, consider the sister company, Audi. I've always also loved those little speakers that I don't know if these popped out. Well, should we find out? Did they pop in or out? Now I gotta know. Because in the past, those guys would pop out. So I'm gonna just pull over here for a second, safely, and then I'm gonna then park. I'm gonna zoom in, and let's see if these guys are stationary or if they're actually pop out. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, there they go. Look at that. How cool is that? Let's watch it again. Now that puts a huge smile on my face. Look at that. I think I would buy the car just for that. All right, let's head back on the road. Oh, Audi, you do impress. This has been happening since I fell in love with the, I was going to say A7, but let's face it, probably an S7, or if you want to go with the big guns, it gets even better than that. Well, there you have it. My first drive of the new Audi Q7. Did I mention that giant roof? Look at that. Of course, panoramic roofs are nothing new, but they do let the light in. And I have to say, I like this car, and I'm at the wrong age because I really don't need a 3-row family hauler. But if I was looking for one, this would be one that I would certainly. All right, now it's bugging me. All of a sudden, something came back on, and it's trying to steer for me. This is what I mean. What did that do? Driver assistance, basic. Thank you. How about none? Audi, how about none? Is that possible? But we do live in a brave new world. But if I were considering a 3-row, this would certainly be on my list. And then, let me tell you something really cool. I just got invited to Sweden for the launch of the new XC90. So that video is coming up as well later this month. And this segment has become red hot recently. Apparently everybody has decided that they need a 3-row, no matter how many people they have in their family. The usefulness of it is just too enticing to pass up. And I can see that. I can see why people want to be able to go to the airport and pick up their families. We just had a bunch of people at the house for Tommy's wedding. If you didn't know he got married, he got married. And I would have loved to have something where we could have gotten the relatives into one car and then brought them, to the wedding, as opposed to having to go back and forth, which is what we have to do. Well, guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate the fact that you're watching these reviews. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. We do read them in the comments below. And as always, this is Roman saying, check out alltfl.com for more news, views, and of course, real-world Audi Q7 reviews. See you guys next time. Ciao.